everyone, this is Hannah and Kaylin, back again with Double Talk. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Kaylin.
Nearly 15 years after becoming one of the youngest actors to be nominated for an Oscar, Abigail Breslin is forging a new career, not behind the camera, but behind the mic. Under the musical moniker Sophomore, Abigail just released her new single Hex, the second off of her upcoming EP Witchcraft, out December 20th. Tonight we're catching up with our friend Abby as she tells us about her process for writing songs, her gift many of her fans don't know about, and what she learned throughout her career that she wishes she knew when she was younger. Listen in. You know we love Hex. We've been playing it on repeat. It always makes me wonder, like whenever there's a song that has good storytelling, but also has like a really good mood and a really good vibe and a really good music
And good
with
lyrics.
it. Good lyrics. And it's catchy. I always wonder, like, what is your process behind writing and recording and getting this sound down behind a song?
Does the sound come first or do the lyrics come first?
You know, that's an interesting question. I think that it's really different for any musician, every musician. I think that they have a different process and a different way of writing that's really unique to them. For me personally, it depends on the song. Like sometimes I'll just get like a word or a stanza, like lyrics or something that comes to mind first, or I'll get like a melody in my head first. And so for this particular song, what I found was that I had lyrics first, which was like, but it kind of came at the same time as the melody. So it was like, gonna put a hex on. I think the first version of it was like, wanna put a hex on you. I think that was what the first version was, but and then it kind of just alters as you work on it further and further. So for me, it kind of either comes in conjunction, like I'll hear a lyric of the song with the melody in my head, and then, or I'll have an idea for a song and I'll like rack my brain trying to find a melody.
One of the things I love is you're not afraid to sing about personal experiences that you've had in your real life
And real life people.
And real life people too. And I just think, I mean, we've already established you're a lot braver than we are, but I just think that takes so much courage because especially you're in the public eye, you know that people can kind of connect the dots sometimes quickly, sometimes not as quickly, and they know who you're talking about and they know the experience you're describing. And I just think that's so brave. I mean, how do you embolden yourself to do that and put your heart out there like that?
I more so feel bad for my friends that end up being victims to these songs and have to then deal with the fact that they're a part of a song that I wrote. I think that what I mainly do is I just try and write from as honest of a point of view as I possibly can. And I think that that's kind of why I chose to go under Sophomore instead of being under Abigail Breslin, because I could then kind of create a narrative that wasn't attached to me as an actress and more so what my real life is. And I've always appreciated musicians and artists and songs that depicted real life and really shared true stories, so that's why I usually call my friends though before, because there's more songs on the EP that mention names. And I call them all beforehand. And I'm like, hey, can you listen to this? And are you cool with me saying your name in it or whatever? Sometimes I'll change names if it's too aggressive of a move. But for the most part, my friends, I think, like when they're mentioned in the songs. And the one thing I always say is that I don't lie in my music ever. So anything that you hear in the song is a complete and total truth.
I think I already know the answer to this, but I want to know where Sophomore came from. I know it was something kind of like intuition, which doesn't surprise me from you at all, but where did Sophomore come from?
Sophomore basically came from, I had a dream one night.
Yeah.
Where I was in a marching band, and it was like, I was wearing this really cool like cheerleading uniform, and one of my old songs was like playing in the background, and I just went by the name Sophomore during that dream. So I was like, all right, I guess my musician name should be Sophomore. And it just kind of always fit. Plus, I've always had like, I had a song out a long time ago under my real name, and it did not go as well. And I was like, Sophomore, like, second time around, like, kind of that kind of vibe. But honestly, it just kind of came to me in a dream.
You know we cannot talk to you without mentioning, because it's too perfect. Your song, Witchcraft, Hex, we learned from you, and we never would have known this, and I'm pretty sure I could say that I bet a lot of your fans do not know that you are a medium.
Probably not.
Yeah, because I didn't know this. I have to say really quick, we were just talking about something completely random on the phone with Abby, and she said, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a medium, and I'm actually getting a message from your grandfather, and it was amazing. How long did you know that you had that ability? Like, I'm just, like, were you reading people on the set of Little Miss Sunshine? Like, how long has this been a thing?
It'd be so funny if I was like, Steve Pro.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. When I was about 9 years old, though, I really did kind of realize I was working on another film, and a woman that I'd been working with had mentioned that, she was going through a really rough time. So the next night when I went back to the hotel with my mom, in the middle of the night, I felt somebody like touching me or like talking to me, and I felt like that it was like a little boy. And when I went to set the next day, I was telling the girl on set, and she started crying, and she was like, "That's my son." And it was like her son who had passed away, unfortunately. So that's kind of when I did, but also my mom had a grandmother who was very tuned into the spiritual world, and was able to actually like levitate tables and do all these things that were super wild. And so when I kind of honed in on that and focused a lot of my energy on learning more about it and learning how to read tarot and learning kind of how to also block out energies, because sometimes, that can be a lot for somebody. It kind of occurred to me that, I should make an EP basically based on the spiritual connection that I have, which is in a form witchcraft. And that's kind of what was the inspiration for this album, but also just like how witchcraft can come in many different forms. Like, I think that love is a form of witchcraft, and yeah.
I need to ask you to elaborate on that. That is such an interesting comment that you just made. Love is a form of witchcraft. Can you explain that? That's so interesting.
Yeah, I think that sometimes like you're put under like a spell with love, and you fall for somebody, and you can either fall for the real genuine person that they are, or you can fall under their spell that they kind of cast on you. I think that love is a form of a spell and some form of witchcraft, because it's just a weird thing that happens to you. Like, you meet somebody and then you're boom, like starstruck by them, you know what I mean? And like completely obsessed with them. And it's a completely weird, it's kind of one of the only like human emotions that we can't really pinpoint. Like, how do you know that you love somebody? How do you know what real love is? How do you know what infatuation is, or lust, or love? Like, how can you differentiate those emotions? And so it's a really complex idea, but at the end of the day, to me, it kind of feels like something like, for instance, I will tell you this. When I first met my boyfriend, I turned to my best friend, Taylor, who you guys have spoken to now. And I said to her, we got back into the car, and I said, "Taylor, guarantee you in 2 weeks he's going to be my boyfriend."
Aww.
Swear to God, 2 weeks later, we became boyfriend, girlfriend.
I just thought it was interesting because you really have like brought our family members peace, and I'm sure that's something that you've been doing in your personal life forever. So I just thought the decision to bring that to your professional life through your music and kind of share that gift with the broader audience.
It's all too perfect.
It's just so good. I love it. And I know you have a busy night, but I think the last thing I wanted to ask you is, I mean, you've been so successful, obviously, since you were so little as an actress, and now you've found success as an author. A singer and an author. If you could go back to the very beginning of when this all started, is there something that you wished you would have known back then that you know now, that you can now tell other people that that might help them if they're at the beginning of the journey that you have been on?
I think that one of the things that I wish I had done was like not been so hard on myself. I think I was always super hyper critical of myself, my performances, my appearance, my the way that I talked on camera, the way that I acted. Like, I just think that I was super critical of myself, and I wish that I had been a little bit easier on myself and easy on the day, like, Adele. I wish I'd been that song to myself. But I genuinely do feel like I wish that I had just been a little bit less hard on myself, and I wish that I had soaked in a little bit more of like the experiences that I had had. But at the same time, I don't really regret anything. I just wish that, I had paid less attention to the comments on that.
You know we love you. Thank you so much for doing this.
I love you guys. No, thank you for having me, and you guys are the best, and I can't wait to. I'll obviously text you guys tomorrow too. Anyways.